Good morning, students. Today we'll start with chapter number 2 of chemistry, which is structure of atom. In this chapter we'll study about the internal structure of the atom. Means what are the subatomic particles which are present in atom? Means what does atom made up of? What are that subatomic particles which it consists of? But in the first chapter we read the Dalton's theory, where he showed that atom is indivisible, means atom cannot be further divided. But here it is experimentally proved that atoms are divisible. Atoms can be divided and they consist of three fundamental particles, and that fundamental particles are electrons, protons and neutrons. So which are the discoveries which led to the development of these three fundamental particles? Now we'll study about that. First is the discovery of electron. The discovery of the electron, it was given by discharge tube experiment. J.J. Thomson performed the discharge tube experiment and he proved the existence of the electron, which showed that atom is divisible, and the first fundamental particle of the atom which was discovered was electron. So what was the discovery which showed the presence of electron? Here the discharge tube experiment was done, and what was there in the discharge tube experiment? Here you can see, here is the full apparatus of the discharge tube. This is the discharge tube, and this discharge tube has two electrodes. This electrode is cathode and this electrode is anode, and this discharge tube is filled with gas, and here high voltage potential is being given, and this is the vacuum pump. Now what is the need to use the vacuum pump over here? In this experiment, the pressure which was used, that was about 10 raised to power minus 3 mm of mercury. This much lower pressure was used in this experiment. So this much lower pressure is used so that gas becomes conducting. Okay, so to maintain the pressure which was about 10 raised to power minus 3 mm of Hg of mercury, this vacuum pump was used. Okay, so then the high potential was given in this apparatus. Then what happened means potential of about 5000 to 10,000 volt of potential was given here. When that potential was given, then the rays started emitting from cathode. The rays started emitting from the cathode and they moved towards the anode. Here the anode used was not simple anode, that was perforated anode. What does the perforated anode means? There was some gap between the electrode of the anode. जो anode था उसके electrode के बीच में gaps थे. So what was the reason behind that? It was so because a zinc sulfide, a fluorescent substance of which was a zinc sulfide, that was being attached behind the anode. Anode के पीछे zinc sulfide जो fluorescent substance है, that substance was being used here. So what was the reason for that? So that when cathode rays which were coming from the cathode and moving towards anode, that when strike that fluorescent substance which was zinc sulfide, that starts to glow. जब cathode rays move कर रही थी towards anode, तो एनोड के बीच में जो गैप्स बने हुए थे, द रे वाज पासिंग थ्रू दैट गैप्स, और वो जो जिंक सल्फाइड एनोड के पीछे जो जिंक सल्फाइड की एक लेयर बना रखी थी, वो सब्सटेंस रखा था वहाँ पे, दैट कैथोड रेज वाज स्ट्राइकिंग ओवर दैट जिंक सल्फाइड लेयर, एंड दैट जिंक सल्फाइड सब्सटेंस, दैट फ्लोरेसेंट सब्सटेंस, दैट बिगन्स टू ग्लो. So that was confirming that some rays, they were coming from cathode and moving towards anode. The rays were invisible. So to confirm that something is moving from cathode to anode, that zinc sulfide layer behind the anode was used, and then that confirmed about the cathode rays which were moving from cathode to anode. So these rays, they were known as cathode rays. Now what are the properties of the cathode rays? First point is that cathode rays travel in straight line. Whenever a light travels in straight line, it casts the shadow. So here also the cathode rays were forming the shadow on the opposite wall. So it confirms that cathode rays, they are traveling in straight line. Second point, that cathode rays start from cathode and they move towards the anode. This we have read. Next point is that these rays themselves are not visible. I already told you that these are the invisible rays. So how we confirm it? We confirm the movement of the rays by using a fluorescent substance. When the cathode rays strikes over that fluorescent substance will begin to glow, and it confirms the rays that are moving from cathode to anode. Now, cathode rays consist of negatively charged particles. How does it confirms that cathode rays consist of negative charge or positive charge? For that, electric field was applied onto the cathode rays, and when electric field, that one positive charge and one negative charged plate, when that electric field was applied onto the cathode rays, then these cathode rays, they deflect towards the positive plate. And which charge would have deflected towards the positive plate? Negative charge. So that confirms that cathode rays consist of negative charge. And even in the presence of magnetic field, the rays deflected towards the positive plate. So that confirms that the cathode rays consist of negative charge. So next characteristics of the cathode ray is that they do not depend upon the material of the electrode and the nature of gas. We can take any material for the electrode, or we can take any gas in the discharge tube. The rays which will be emitted, that will be same, and they will be of negative charge only. So because with the use of any of the electrode, or with the use of any of the gas, the same type of particles are being emitted. That's why they are known as fundamental particles, because they are same with everything. What type of electrode or what type of gas we are taking, the same type of the particles are being emitted. That's why they are known as fundamental particles. And the cathode rays, they do not depend upon the nature of the electrode or on the nature of the gas. Now then, the charge and the mass on the electron, how it was determined. So for that, firstly J.J. Thomson determined the charge to mass ratio on the electron. That what is the charge to mass ratio on the electron? For that, what did he do? He subjected the beam of the electrons, which was cathode rays, to electric as well as magnetic field simultaneously. What J.J. Thomson did, he used simultaneously electric field as well as magnetic field onto the cathode rays. Okay, and then what observations and what measurements he made by that experiment? Before discussing that, let us discuss about the factors. That what are the factors when he performed this experiment? So firstly, greater the magnitude of charge, जितना पार्टिकल पे चार्ज ज़्यादा होगा उतनी उनकी डिफ्लेक्शन ज़्यादा होगी. हियर थॉमसन यूज्ड बोथ, उसने इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड भी यूज़ किया, मैग्नेटिक फील्ड भी यूज़ किया अपॉन द कैथोड रेज. Okay, and then he studied the deflection of the cathode rays. But on which factors the deflection of the cathode rays depend? They are the two factors. First is the charge, another is the mass. जितना charge ज़्यादा होगा, the greater will be the deflection. But for the mass, if the mass is the lighter one, then the deflection will be greater. Greater the charge, greater will be the deflection. But lighter the particle, greater will be the deflection. So these were the two factors on which the deflection of the particles depend while studying charge to mass ratio. So after doing the calculations, what did he find? He find the charge to mass ratio, and that charge to mass ratio comes out to be 1.75 into 10 raised to power 11 coulomb per kilogram. This was the charge to mass ratio which was calculated by J.J. Thomson. Now next was the charge on the electron. The charge on the electron was calculated by Millikan. He used oil drop experiment and he found the charge on the electron to be 1.6022 into 10 raised to power minus 19 coulomb. So this is the charge on the electron. Here we have charge to mass ratio of the electron. So after using these two values, we can calculate the mass of the electron. We know the charge, we know the charge to mass ratio, and then here is the calculation which is helpful, which is informing us about the mass of the electron, which comes out to be 9.1 into 10 raised to power minus 31 kg. Now next is the discovery of the proton. So electron was discovered by J.J. Thomson. The proton was discovered by E. Goldstein. For discovery of proton means anode or anode rays, the same discharge tube experiment was done, but in the cathode rays perforated anode was used, but in case of anode rays perforated cathode is used. Okay, and in the similar way when the voltage will be applied, but here the pressure which is to be used, that is greater than the case of the cathode rays. Here the amount of the pressure used is about 10 raised to power minus 1 mm of mercury. Here more pressure is used and here perforated cathode is used. So when voltage is applied, then the rays started moving from anode towards the cathode, and these rays were named as anode rays. But in actually these rays were not emitting from the anode, these rays were emitting from the gas which was used in the discharge tube. Cathode rays के case में the rays, they were not depending upon the type of electrode or on the type of the gas which we were using. But in case of anode rays, the type of gas which we are using is the cause which is on which the type of rays which will be emitted, it depends. Okay, so it means anode rays are not emitted from anode, these are emitted from the gaseous ions, the gas which we have used in the discharge tube. Now what are the properties of the anode rays? The value of the positive charge on the particles constituting the anode rays, they depend upon the nature of the gas. So in case of the anode rays, the value of the positive charge, it depend upon the nature of the gas which we had taken, and obviously the charge to mass ratio, it will also depend upon the gas, and the positive charge of the particles, it carries the unit of electric charge. Obviously the जो positive charge इस पे होगा, it carries multiple of the fundamental unit of electrical charge. जो electrical charge इसमें fundamental unit किस चीज़ को ले रखा है, that is the charge of the hydrogen. And the behavior of the particles in case of electric field or magnetic field is opposite to that of the cathode rays. In case of cathode rays, they were deflecting towards the positive plate, and here the anode rays will be deflecting towards the negative plate. So the proton is the smallest and the lightest positive ion which was obtained from hydrogen, and here the mass of the proton and the charge on the proton is given. Now what is the third fundamental particle of the atom? The third fundamental particle of the atom is neutron, and the neutron was discovered by Chadwick. And for this experiment, beryllium, by the bombardment of the sheet of the beryllium with the fast moving alpha particles, here the beryllium was being bombarded with the alpha particles, and then a neutral particles, rays consisting of neutral particles was observed, and then that rays were named as neutron. Okay, and the neutrons are neutral, there is no charge on the neutron, and the mass on the neutron is same as that of the proton. Here is the table showing you the comparison between electron, proton, neutron, who has discovered them, and what is their nature, and what is the charge and mass on them.